First of all, the dragon flight you see, it's actually a part of the dungeon. Yep, that sigil you see doesn't actually exist. Also, the forge to the right of it looks insane. The gear crafting now is a bit odd. The chains at the start of the level look rad. You can't run past the mobs here unless someone is already in the fight, so AoE to the rescue. The run to the giant doors past the book is cinema. Then you get to take this super cool elevator up, which isn't connected to the level, so when you walk out there's a loading screen. Here there's a ice and fire boss, but you can just walk behind them, so no need to fight them. Both doors will lead you to the crystal, which opens the way to an arena where you fight ice draconics. Gotta say, the door glowing with the mist trail looks, I don't even know what to say here. Beating the dragons off will unlock the door, and whoa, look at Malister. This just looks wow. Their aids to make Malister apparently just turn invisible when you beat them. Like, what is he doing? Then you go back to the giant dragon. He thinks he can control. Cyrus is a hardy professor, so helping you here, trying to persuade Malister, is dope. It's like a bonding moment. The fight itself is, well, Malister really likes using Dark Fairy, so yeah. Just used the funny max level spell on Malister. Gotta say though that the dragon in the back is really cool, even if you can only see its upper half face. Anyways, a peak dungeon it is, and the best one to start this video on. Winterbane Hall is the best gauntlet in the game. The first level has very rude gremlins who deserve the tempest waves of washing over them. And the reason why I like this one so much is mega snack farming. Also, it just looks really cool too. The second floor has some great big anteater or something. I don't know what that thing is, but it's an interesting looking myth boss who can drop mega snacks. The next level is a mega snack farming spot. So normally you can just make them food and they'll be chill. However, if you have 3 people and do battle with them, then you can respawn them. You respawn them by having one person walk through the door at the end, then coming back. It's really that simple. However, you need 3 people to work, so you see here, since it's only 2, it didn't work. I don't know why it needs 3, but that's just what it needs. They drop lots of mega snacks, so as I said, it's a really good farming spot. Much better than Mirror Lake if you have access to the gauntlet. The arena after is pretty cool. I like that there's a sandy circle with water flowing around it, but the boss is just some life dude, so I don't really care about him. And then end up getting washed over anyways. A freakish animals are the next encounter. A big ice giant troll, and 2 others, I don't know what, no, these are bears, right? That just tag along with them. They can drop gear from this dungeon as well. It's the winter gear. It's not that great, but in the early game, from like 1 to 20, before you get Olympus gear, it's not half bad. Because it also comes with cards too, so it can be useful. The final gauntlet boss is a frost dragon who's actually a fire boss. He drops as a pet from the battle, and comes with an interesting card. This is what the card does, and this is how it performs. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Of course, the gauntlet gear also drops here, which I don't have yet, but oh well. You can get a bow here, I believe. I have never gotten it as a drop. I've run it a lot. I got this cool ice serpent. Nice dungeon. I like it a lot. One of my favorites. Tomb of the Beguiler. This is just some random dungeon in Tomb of the Storms, which is in Krakatopia. And wow, it slaps. There are 3 different levels, all different elements, and in order to fight the bosses of the first 2 levels, you need to be within distance of sigils that appear around the map telling you what sigils to interact with. 2 bosses on each floor. The first is Storm, who is some spider dude. The second is just guarding the entrance to the fire level, which not only has the same puzzle, but after it there is a different puzzle, where you make 3 braziers are of fire, which is pretty fire. The ice level doesn't have any braziers, so it's just the boss that has a teleporter behind it. Proceed through 3 rooms after going through the teleporter, then find the boss at the end. Poor Manders, always enthralled by the crocs. You'll notice that there are 3 different Manders here, of storm, ice, and fire. The boss is ice, accompanied by 3 storms. On level, it's quite difficult, but not so much when you're, well, As you can see, not a level. It's honestly nuts that this is just some random dungeon in Tombs of the Storms, because it is so much better than anything else in this world. And now, another dungeon on Krakatopia. Yep, House of Scales. Ah, the critical gear. The extra 2 damage that Waterworks gear doesn't have. Gear aside, it's a cool sandy level with the usual mobs and skeleton key boss, who you meet in Zafaria and Azteca. The fight here is a bit harder than in Zafaria, but easier than Azteca. Plus he drops triangle decks that, for PvP I suppose, but it must take ages to farm these decks out. Holy moly. Anyways, further in the dungeon is a slave master who challenges you, but as the main character, he gets styled on, then joins you, guiding you through the dungeon, past pit vipers and another boss who guards the entrance to the cinema area. This is the lair of the final dungeon boss, and yeah, it's pretty dope. You got the lava at the bottom with the long walk down. It's a nice walk to the final dungeon boss, because we all know, slowly walking towards the boss increases your RNG. That's exactly how it works. The mechanic the boss has to sap NPC health for 300 can be pretty impactful to the fight if you solo it, since at that level, you'll need to spend rounds buffing, which she will use to heal. Other than that though, a normal fight, all around, although it does drop some great critical damage gear. Also the entrance to the pyramid is just amazing, because the entrance is literally a pyramid. It's awesome. First of all, epic dungeon because you can TP a low level account in here and get basically free 7 levels. An account went from 12 to 19 in this one run. Besides the OP leveling, you can smash an ice wall with a hammer, break about skeletons rattlebone style, and fight 4 animal Vikings who could be pretty tough. Activate some pillars of plot and the smallest big giants of quadruple brotherhood appear. Oh yeah, their father is just chilling in the back. He's just a chill guy. You see, they want to play tag, however just kind of ignore that and rid him of his brothers. So he gets upset like Torrance, then just falls over. Wizhala for the fallen giant. This next dungeon is one I used to farm for Mega Snacks all the time, and a lot of people still do it. It's Mirror Lake. If you don't know, somehow, it gives 2 pixie sticks every time you complete it, which are plus 30s, so not the worst, but you get more from farming couch potatoes, or you get more Mega Snacks quicker overall by farming Winterbane home, so that's just a better spot. But still, it's a pretty cool dungeon. You get to fight in 4 really cool arenas, all bosses. The last 2 fights are of just the same boss, but 4 times. Get the bug people and then the spiderlings. It's a neat dungeon. I really like it a lot. It's totally not, you know, all those runs that I had to do before I started gardening. No, it can't be that. It's a solid like wizard out of 101. These next few dungeons take places in the chivalry lands of Avalon. The first dungeon is the ghost dungeon before the final dungeon, where you become Gamma and take flight and destroy the evil Sir Mallory and duel the Chad Crab, who is utmost worthy of the Silver Rose. Also, I love all the fog. Really makes the back in time thing apparent. If you've ever heard Gamma say,
"Oh, Gaspar, she was trying to hit me with a woolly mammoth."
We're talking about Morganth, that's because her cheat will cast a mammoth spell at Gamma. That's just cold. Chadbros de-levels Morganth basically. Also, Artorias knows you're not really Gamma and addresses you as a wizard, allowing you to pray here at the shrine. Oh yeah, Sir Mallory here is, well, he was here. You have the Sword of Kings. And it is super underwhelming unless you're alive, because that healing is just crazy. Aside from that, I love how the wand hit will trigger a cheat, making the Pendragon hit himself. Okay, why is it not working? It was supposed to work. Whatever, it did used to work. Anyways, the Pendragon looks cool, so I guess that gets a pass. You get to save the king. Wait, this might be a medieval world. Anyways, he wants you to defeat 2 dragons of black and white for the antidote, who you can see from the crystal caves. This is why I like the dungeon so much. You can see the dungeon bosses before you fight them. It's also hard to not like a dungeon that's full of dragons and a sword that had a gimmick around it when facing a boss in said dungeon. Now, let's skip a few worlds and talk about 2 dungeons that are the only ones that I actually like in the in-game of Wizard101. Hall of Heroes, where you find Lumeria. You fight 8 NPCs, which is awesome. It sounds weird, but you basically just take turns and you get a pip every 2 rounds. Anyways, there's not really any major cheats that I remember. Like, the Mander would cast an aura, and that's really it. Like, oh yeah, the Ice Guy would shield. That's it, pretty much. It's definitely an interesting fight, but it did crash my laptop, so that was pretty fire. The next one is Manticore's Madness. I actually really like this fight. Polymorphing is so cool, and it's actually not bad here. At the start of turn 1, you get polymorphed randomly into one of the bosses. The cards of the polymorph are Archmastery cards, and it makes the most of it with different conditions for each card. For example, the balanced one can cast spells with random buffs, debuffs, or that hit harder with a blade or a shield. The goal of the fight is for everyone to focus the same NPC, which that NPC being the one opposite of your school, since of that sweet damage boost. Like, just look at this balanced, fluffy Forest Lord. I mean, once you've made them concede, you are back to normal, which you just promptly blade an AoE. Simple fight to end with, but the beginning is really cool. This next one is the only one-shot dungeon that I think is like amazing, and it's the Zeus one. I really like the Aquila dungeons, so when more end level 1 is available, yeah, it was gonna be on here. It's a harder Tartarus fight with more cheats. They have a hefty beginning cheats. However, they also help you during the combat when you attack them, like healing or blading. So on level, a group will be required, yet even solo on a max, if you're not careful you can still die too, of course. I wasn't careful here and ended up pull a drain to like 20 rounds in pretty much. This is the only one-shot dungeon that I've gone out of my way to do, even when not needing to, simply because I want to see what type of gods I can get, because they don't all spawn at the same time. You can get different gods, like they kind of rotate. Also, just the idea of fighting Olympians at their peak in random order, which they spawn in, is super cool, even if the gear is kind of bad compared to the Darkmoor stuff. Something cool about the gear is that the lightning bolt you get here casts like a normal wand. I never knew that and I always wondered about it, but yeah, you just get the lightning wand here and then it casts like a normal sword would or wand. Now for the Aquila dungeons. In order, the way I like them is Tartarus, Mount Olympus, Poseidon. We'll start with Poseidon because it's at the very end. So this is a watery dungeon that happens to have many sea creatures. Pretty crazy, right? There's also a squid boss here who can be hard because they earthquake you for taking off all your charms. So you just trap stack them AoE. They can drop loots of level 90 and amber, which is very helpful on my crowns. Now, the children of the sea god are guarding the mermaids who, fortunately, have their instrument broken, which is a cool puzzle where you just follow the pipe and fix it. The storm spell is who you fight next. It's really cool how the storm spell just decided to be laying here. Thank Poseidon for placing it here. But what do we do without him? Frosty Krakens guard the way. Washed away they are though, with the tempting waves. Now the sea god himself lies behind, who you can't single trap, so mass prism him instead. Apparently it's also in the lore that Poseidon is chill with 3 Frost Krakens, and the arena is cool too. Pretty real dungeon. Mount Olympus is a level 30 dungeon and is a nice refresh from questing to Malibon or Mushu. You got that gladiator ring with Helios blocking your path. The goal is to collect like little statues so you can complete the puzzle, which goes, and this is how the puzzle works. You go left, then you go right, then you go middle. Beyond them is a boss battle that you unlock at level 90. You fight a balanced boss of 30k health for the Alpha and Omega ring, which gives you 10 unit shield damage, and it's just overall really good for level 90. Or the Sword and Shield pet, and it gives you a sharpen card, so if you're a new player, this is an amazing pet to get. The Blacksmith Bird passed to Cyclops, because you collect all those little sculptures so that you can challenge Ares, the god of war casting. For that though, you can get this statue here. Who has a cool cheat? Well, the bird named Ares drops the Sky Iron Hosta, which giving a 10% damage boost is, yeah, it's quite good. He can also drop his own spear, but it is so much worse. Zeus floats down behind him, just chilling because that's what bird gods do. They idle in the middle of the room, just seemingly waiting for you. You fight him in his throne room, really cool. And since he is accompanied by minotaurs, it is lore accurate that Zeus is best friends with them. Oh yeah, he drops Zeus gear, which is good besides the wand, which for some reason sucks compared to the Sky Iron Hosta in Tartarus. This starting place looks simply amazing. Pompeii, phenomenal. Secondly, you get to fight Kronos at the start, who is the father of the gods, for the Blade of the Fell Titan at level 90, which is basically the same as the Alpha and Omega ring, but for Athames. And it's a really good at Athame is how you get to Darkmoor or Morganth. Kronos is also guarded by spirits, who don't really help him all that much. When you finish him, it's a nice relaxing walk down, and a death goat thinks he's the goat, which, to be fair, in this fight he kind of was the goat for a while, until you get rid of his minions. Then it becomes less fair for the goat. I gotta say though, again, Pompeii, he just looks great. The boat here is, whoa. You get wood, then ride the boat over to look at the gateway for some time, and it just looks really cool. Like, this has to be the best looking place in the game. Can't think of any area that is quite like this one. Seriously, what else contends with this? Further in, you get to compete with death minotaurs. If you like death minotaurs, because I mean, they aren't the worst, but followed by 3 snakes, you finna get rawed all battle long. So spend 30 minutes searching for just to hit. What was bro guarding? A snake lady who was just waiting for someone to fix her invaluable urn that she refuses to fix herself. You then find your way through the maze and collect a lion's tail to put to sleep a big pup who does fall asleep, but will catch you anyways because magic pup. This magic pup wants you to kill a firehead first, and after that they'll lose their shields and attack you normally. Up the steps and through the door. The 3 gods await to be battled. The brothers or something, I don't know what they really think of themselves. This fight is pretty cool. You want to focus Hades first since he's basically the healer of the group. He also has the least amount of health. Zeus loves his stun spells and can tank hits the most because he has the most health. Shocking, I know. Poseidon's just like a chill guy, so don't mind him. Both bosses have a major weakness, and that is dying. Yep, believe it or not, the bosses that are weak to dying can die. You can always respawn Zeus and Poseidon by just walking to the entrance and back. If you want to fight Hades though for both his gear sets, gotta run it all the way back. The main question here is which set looks the best? Gotta be Hades set, of course. It just looks so much different from everything else. Got that underworld drip. Alright, the spooky dungeon this one is. Yep, it's Castle Darkmoor, Graveyard. And funnily enough, I actually like Graveyard. First of all, the OST here is amazing. It's the one that's playing right now in the video. Second, the cheats are cool, and you to play into them is fun. Boss stunning when you blade cast on the first boss. So basically, when you cast a blade on the first boss, he'll stun you. So you use Conviction to start so you don't get stunned. You can cast stun shields, but that's only 2 stun resists, and the Wraiths do cast a Frosty Giant, so it's not ideal. This undead ghoul will use a shadow spell every 5 rounds, so just feint the first blade second. So just feint the first and blade the second, then hit. It drops a great Athame too for this level, which is good and bad, because people just leave the dungeon after this fight when they farm it, so it gets really fucking annoying when you're farming Alistair gear. People just leave after the first fight. There's also this skeleton key boss here who is pretty tough with some wicked cheats. It's been a while since I've spellcasted against it, so I think we'll stick to the dungeon for now. Chain von Chain is simple. Damage him every round or he'll Vampire Bugle you. He also uses blades when you do this, but this isn't that much of a problem since you'll always be able to kill him before it becomes an issue. If it is a issue, then just trap stack, as that's super effective, and honestly, don't see a lot of people do that anymore. Cool little place we find them in too. Yep, that was a dragon cinematic that happens when you approach Malister. It's also active during the fight, shaking off your blades every 5 rounds. Malister can also use 2 as a spell itself. and it can do some hefty damage. Mally here has 2 phases. The first one is what you've seen. The second one happens when he dies. He'll look dead for a round, then come back with much more health. That is original. However, this can be nerfed if you cast Doom and Gloom before transition, making him spawn with much less health, thus making the fight more manageable. He also has these cool polymorph spells, which can destroy your aura, or just hit for a lot of damage. Not to mention he has a drain that will convert all the damage he did to you back to him. It may sound odd, but I like this. It forces the player to pay attention to work around the gimmicks. Once you've eventually defeated the Undead Professor, the best cutscene in the game will play, as you finally say goodbye to the main villain of the game. His loot is insane, but farming it can get insane. It took my storm 4 years to get the robe. Now, it was on mouth farming of course, but that is still some awful RNG. Anyways, Darkmoor is an amazing dungeon with fun cheats, cool cinematics, and good loot drops. It's the best way to end off this video, as it started with Monster and it ends with Monster, just like the game did in my own Wiz story.